Welcome to the Big 12 Insiders, your Big 12 sports show. Here's your host, Brien Hanley.
Hey, everybody, what's going on? This is your man, Big B, Brien Hanley. Welcome back to Big 12 Insiders. I appreciate everybody being in here. I don't know if you would say it's a light weekend for the Big 12 this weekend because everybody's playing. I'm just not sure that there's a ton of marquee matchups, but there are a few, and we're going to go over those with you guys today, break down the meaning of some of those and what it means for the conference as well. So appreciate you guys being in here. As always, man, remember to like, follow, subscribe, continue to get in the comments, and dive into the notification bell. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that thing so you know exactly when Big 12 Insiders content comes out. Appreciate that. Man, look, the marquee matchup, obviously, is Houston going to Lawrence to take on KU this weekend. It is not just the marquee matchup of Big 12. It may be the marquee matchup this weekend in college basketball. The way that I see it, look, both teams got blown out at the opposing team's place last year, so Houston's trying to make a better showing this season going to KU than what they did last year. That's for sure. But KU, on the other hand, they remember going down to Houston later on in the season and getting destroyed. So I'm interested to see what's going on here. Look, Houston is playing really good basketball. They've won 11 games in a row. They had a scare last weekend, but it's tough winning on the road in the Big 12, man. It just is. UCF put up a huge fight. Houston came off of that and absolutely just blew the doors off of Utah. So here we are. I think it's a good game. KU has kind of a little bit of a mixed bag here as of late. I did mention, I just, like I said, I trust Bill Self. And with KJ Adams out, this is giving Badunga more minutes. I think this is the better lineup for KU. I just do. And the reason, it's not complicated to me. Badunga is a better player. He's just better. I know he's a freshman. That doesn't matter. He's a better basketball player. And in the end, I think Bill Self will do that. He's pretty loyal, but when push comes to shove, Bill Self is a competitor and he wants to win. And KJ Adams, maybe this is just giving that opportunity, kind of a blessing in disguise. Nobody wants anybody to ever get hurt, ever, ever, ever. However, you always do have to see, the positives out of something. And the positive here is, hey, Badunga's playing more. We're playing better. He's better. We got to get him more minutes. And we got to get KJ. We got to just lower his minutes and get Badunga out there more. I think it's a blessing in disguise for KU. I really do. But this game is going to go a long way. Look, if Houston can win, I think they can be – obviously Iowa State's still up there, but I think this kind of solidifies up to this point that Houston is the top team in the Big 12. Now, a lot of people would say, well, come on, Big B, they're undefeated so far. But have they been that tested by really good competition? I would say no. But this is going to be one of those tests. KU, on the other hand, I think KU's got to win this. They don't want to get too far down the line where they're out of reach of being able to get to the Big 12 or to win the Big 12. Now, granted, it's not early in the Big 12 season, but it's you don't want to get too detached, should I say, because they lose this game, Houston wins. They're 3 games behind. Still, plenty of basketball left to be played, but being 3 games behind puts you behind the 8 ball, not to mention you don't have the tiebreaker if it came down to that. So, which essentially puts you 4 games behind. So that's where the difference comes in. I'm really looking forward to this basketball game. There hasn't been that many basketball games this year that I've really looking forward to. This would be one of them. This is going to be one of them. Just rough and tough. I think it's going to come down to see who's the more physical basketball team. That's something that KU has been questioned on. Can you be physical enough? And Houston is going to challenge you. They absolutely are. They're going to come and just try to smash it right in your face. Will KU stand up to that? If they do, I think KU can win. If they don't, this game may get away from them. Now, it's in Lawrence, so it's tough to say a game gets away from KU and Lawrence, but Houston's that good. They shoot the ball much better than they did a year ago. So we'll find out. I'm really looking forward to this basketball game and this matchup. Next up, maybe not as marquee, but within the Big 12, it's got significant meaning. It's Baylor at Utah. Now, Utah, they got a real opportunity here. And what I say that is, first off, Utah doesn't have any bad losses. Like, you go down and you look at their schedule and who they've lost to, they have 0 bad losses on the season. Doesn't mean they haven't lost a number of games, but they don't have any bad losses. But they got an opportunity right now. They got 3 of the next 4 at home, so you got having a real opportunity there to get back into this thing in the race if you can string together some victories here. I don't know if they're necessarily close to making the NCAA tournament as it sits right now, but if they can finish in the upper middle of the Big 12, I think they got a really good chance to make it. But to be quite frank with you, these next 4 games, if they can win them, and again, that's asking a lot, but they got an opportunity. If they can win those games, that gives them a leg up of being able to do it. Now, if they don't, or they split or something like that, then you're like, they're not making the tournament. But if they can win these 4 games, Utah's got a real shot because they're going to jump in a lot of in net ranking. They're just going to move in a lot of different areas. But more importantly, you got to take care of home court. You get 3 or 4 at home. They're not playing the big boys of the Big 12, and Baylor doesn't appear to be that at this point. You got an opportunity. I think Utah's got to take advantage of it. Now, you look on the other side of this, Baylor's got to find consistency. Now, they have been just brutalized with injuries. They have, and it's caused some problems. But they have the talent. It's never been a talent thing with Baylor. They just got to find that consistency. And I think injuries are a little bit of that, but others, it's trying to figure out pieces. How do we play with each other? What's the best lineup moving forward? Yada, 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 all that stuff. Well, now is the time that you've got to get into the, that mode of, okay, it's time to put our foot down here and see what we got. Get this thing moving in the right direction. That was a good comeback that they had against Kansas State in the second half on Wednesday. Really good for them. Here's the thing. 3 of the next 4 are on the road. They got the Utah swing, Utah, BYU, then they have KU, and then they go to Tech. If you're not going to play consistent basketball, you could easily lose 3 or 4 of these games. If Baylor does that, I mentioned this before in previous podcast, I believe it was on Wednesday, talking about I think Baylor might be a team that we thought was really, really good that misses out on the tournament. We see that every year. We see it every year, every conference, particularly in this one, where a team that you believe is good turns out not to be that good. If that's what happens to this Baylor team, they lose 3 or 4 in this next stretch, I don't believe Baylor's going to make the tournament. I really don't. Having said that, they do have an opportunity here. I don't anticipate that happening, but it can. But it's got to start with Utah. And Utah is not a pushover. Like I mentioned, they don't have a bad loss. They just don't. Baylor's got to win these games. Got to figure out a way to split. That's what I would say. Of the next 4, you got to win 2. 3 or 4 are on the road. Which one are you going to win? Trying to win at Tech is tough. Trying to beat KU is tough. Now you got to at Utah and BYU, tough. We'll see. But it's not a talent thing with Baylor. It's never been a talent thing with them. They have the talent to be able to make this happen. But if they go 1-3 in this stretch, I'll tell you right now, I don't think Baylor's making the tournament. I really don't. And then lastly, as far as games within the Big 12 conference that have a little bit more of a meaning is Iowa State at Arizona State. Now, the reason I say this is because Arizona State, in my mind, this is a must-win basketball game. And I know you're going to, come on, Big B. It's so early in the season. How could it be must-win? I mean, Arizona State's lost a ton of games. In a few that you would think, how are they losing? Why did they lose? What's going on? What's really going on? Now, they had a huge road win against West Virginia. Just a gigantic win over West Virginia on Tuesday night. You cannot take that away from them. But was it a fluke? And I think that's the question moving forward was that game a fluke? This goes a long way in saying it wasn't a fluke. You win this game, maybe this can be the springboard that gets Arizona State going. Because if you don't, and you let Iowa State come in, and Iowa State is played, I would say, okay on the road. But if you let Iowa State come in and beat you, and especially if they whip you, well, where do you go from here? And, and there's, like I said, there's plenty of basketball left, but I just think it's a must-win game. I think Arizona State, for some legitimacy, you got to win it. You're at home. You got to hold home court. And again, I mentioned Iowa State. I mean, they haven't played spectacular. Now, they haven't played bad on the road. I don't want anybody thinking that I'm saying that they've played bad. But it is tough to win in the Big 12. Last time Iowa State was on the road, they lost to that same West Virginia team. Now, they shot abysmal. I wouldn't say that Iowa State is going to shoot. What was it, 6% from three-point range, 1 for 17? I would say they're not going to do that again this season. I'm going to say that. But, you got to find a way to win if you're Arizona State. And it's going to be tough because you guys know how I feel about Iowa State. I think they're the best team in the league. I think they're one of the better teams in the country. I mean, they've got everything that you need to be a national champion. Whether that happens or not, we'll see. But as of now, Iowa State is really, really good. Can't shoot 6% from three. You can't do that and beat good competition or even really any competition. But having said all of that, Iowa State, look, they got back on the road or get back on the host and on the road and see if they can win a game against Arizona State, because Arizona State has talent. There's no doubt that they don't have talent. They do. But we'll see. Plus, they had a bad taste in their mouth. They got bad. I mean, they just crushed UCF. Jiminy Christmas. They just said, look, yeah, we lost to West Virginia. That wasn't us. This is us. And took it right to UCF and just blew the doors completely off of them. But that's what you do. When you're that talented and you're that good, you're that well coached, that's what you do. That was the fluke game. That was an aberration. This is who we are. This is what we can do. When you're a dominant team, I always say, when you're a dominant team, go be the dominant team. Iowa State was that. So I'm really looking forward, to this matchup as well, because, like I said, Arizona State has the talent. Can they put it all together? I've told you all before, I'm not sold on Bobby Hurley. We'll see. That might be what's holding Arizona State back. I know there's a ton of Arizona State fans that feel the same way that I do. But we'll see. We'll see. It's going to be tough to try to beat this Iowa State team. But those are the three games that I have for this weekend, man. Houston going to Lawrence, taking on KU. Baylor going to Utah. Going to be tough. They got a tough stretch. But to get their season going back in the right direction, maybe that game, that comeback against Kansas State is what's going to springboard them. Like I said, 3 of the next 4 at home or on the road, excuse me. And then Iowa State going to Arizona State. Can Arizona State prove that win on the road at West Virginia wasn't a fluke? And even if they play well against Iowa State, I'm going to say that's still not enough. It's still not enough. And call me what you will, say it's not fair. That's fine. It's still not enough. Win the game. Hold home court. I understand Iowa State is very, very good. You want to get to the NCAA tournament, you have to be able to win these games. I'm sorry. It's just facts. Got to win these games. They're coming to your place. You got an opportunity. Take advantage of the opportunity. Period. End of story. So I appreciate all of you guys. Thank you again, man, for checking us out. Remember to continue to like, follow, subscribe, continue to hit that notification bell. We'll see you on Monday with a recap of what happened this weekend. Everybody have a good weekend. We will talk to you soon.
Thank you for watching the Big 12 Insiders, your Big 12 sports show. This has been a Spirit Street production.